sport fans watching around the world. This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Let's get straight into the episode.
Yeah, we heading for the sun. Shawty got my high, I ain't tripping for the funds. Yeah, I won't start, I ain't tripping, I'm a stun.
Yeah, sweet. Okay, before we start, I'll say something to you that I say to everyone that comes on, but I would not be saying it if it wasn't true. You're sitting here because I find you interesting. That's because you are an interesting person. I want to learn more about you, how you think, and how you feel. And I love to have the opportunity to share this experience. So I really appreciate you coming over. Thank you for sitting down. And ladies and gentlemen listening, these are some of my most exciting episodes because if you haven't met my guest, then you kind of get to meet him along today with me. And I really, really appreciate that. What I do know about him is that he is very dedicated to the gym. He's a man of God. He obviously knows his way around a camera because his content looks pretty incredible online. And he's dating one of the most amazing family friends that I know. So that goes without saying. He just, by default, has to be an absolutely top bloke. So most people call him Wes, but for those who don't know, this is Wesley Staten.
Gang. Super excited to be here. Yeah, bro. I've been kind of like watching your stuff for a while, and I was like, dude, April hit me up, and she's like, oh, like he would love to have you on, and I was like, why the not?
Yeah,
so,
nice.
Yeah,
bro. Of course. I thought about it for a bit. It wasn't until Patrick and Alyssa's engagement party that I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
This is my next mission.
Yeah. Bro, it's funny. It's funny because we didn't chat a whole lot. We
Yeah.
didn't chat a whole lot, but like even just from the small interactions, I was like, oh, this is a cool dude. Like we're same age.
Oh yeah. I'm 25. I turned 25 last week.
Okay. I'm
Actually, this week.
Yeah. Happy birthday, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
But yeah, 24. So like, bro, I guess for the last year, I've been wanting like people kind of like along the same somewhat mission or just like involving improving themselves or just like taking chances, and I think that's a little bit harder to find here in Australia versus like coming from the States and stuff. So
yeah,
bro, like I applaud you. It's inspiring what you're doing and all that. So I'm super stoked to be here.
Yeah, appreciate that a lot, bro. That means a lot. It truly does. So you've already given me plenty of talking points, bro. So I don't have to stress on that. You've already given me at least a dozen. But
I got heaps of questions for you, so like,
all right, yeah.
If I'm ever intruding, just let me know.
Nah, bro, feel free. This is our situation. This isn't just the Jake Doxcast. It's our Doxcast.
Yeah, sweet.
Our names are both in the title. So what I usually ask is, I'm very curious. How do you feel like in this current situation? How do you feel being on camera? Is there any nerves? Anything like that? Interesting.
Of course there's nerves and stuff. Like, I think, especially with a podcast or just, I've been in short form content for a little bit, and just my past, I guess, work experience has been in that as well. So like, going into long form and wanting to do that myself, like it is a little bit more nerve-wracking because it shows more who you are.
Mm-hmm.
But that's ultimately like my mission in general of like showing who Wes is and that, and just talking to people along the way. So yeah, a bit of nerves, but it's just like, and I'm gonna bring my faith into it already, but like it's like that God confidence versus like myself. I think in the last like year, ever since like really coming out to Australia and like taking that first big leap of doing something crazy from like a small town in South Carolina, that like I've just kind of like gone into like my own confidence. And it's just completely different, bro. So like,
wow.
Even though like I've been on camera and kind of like, and stuff, this is completely different. And there's levels to any game. So like, it's definitely a bit nerve-wracking, but not too worried about it. Got the alcohol here. But,
yeah, nice.
I'm just playing. It's not.
It's a good touch, bro. It's a good touch. Trust
Yeah.
me. I used to have a drink every podcast to get it started until I decided to stop drinking, but it definitely helped.
I heard that. April said you're like sober, maybe everything except the vapes. I'm trying to.
Yeah, everything but the vapes. Everything but the vapes. So,
bro, it's so hard.
I'm glad you called me out on that because that is a great thing to mention.
I've got mine here. I can't even talk shit. But,
Yeah, no, I needed that. Trust me, because it's a bit of an ego kind of trip when you're trying to just talk about the fact that you're trying to be proud of the fact that you're not drinking or anything like that, but then it's a good little reminder, hang on mate, you got more to go. You got nicotine too.
But I think that's the point, is that like we're never going to be perfect, bro. There's always going to be stuff to learn, whether that's the podcast or just like addictions that we have. There's just like different levels of it, and like just to say we're all egotistical and shit. So like just to say, oh, like I don't drink anymore, like I don't do drugs, I don't go party out anymore, like I was the same way. I was like, I don't do any of that shit, so like I can have this, you know what I mean? And it's like, bro, like it's the same fucking concept. Bro. Like, you're relying on something.
It's all
bro.
the same.
So I'm completely honest with it. Even like being a faith guy, like people like downplay it. I try to be as honest. Obviously, there's a place and time for everything, but I'm like, yeah, I'm still struggling with this, along with other things. But that's the beauty in life and like great thing about it, bro. So,
yeah. Nah, for sure, 100%. I might have to quickly take a pause. I just realised I'll turn the aircon on.
Yeah.
Because the room will get hot.
Okay.
I'll be back in one
Easy
sec.
hours.
Yeah, the cameras actually will overheat too pretty quickly without it.
Oh yeah.
They're only designed to be operating in air-conditioned rooms, so...
Which one are these?
These are the Sony ZV-1s.
Okay, I've actually heard these. Yeah.
They're good. They're very, very good entry-level cameras, these
Yeah.
Sony ZV-1s. It's just... So I got 4 of them. It was a good idea to get 4 because it's a good way to operate social media, but if I would go back, instead of buying 4 of these, I would just buy 2 of these a different camera, more expensive version.
Yeah.
But these have been good for starting, so...
Yeah. How long have you... I think I've watched Mitch's a bit. That's when I first like kind of like heard about you. I think I've seen like your Facebook pop up, but just seen the podcast, and then Patrick's a little bit. And like here and there out there. I think Jake's because like he's at the same gym I'm at, so like I was actually keen because me and Jake have never actually like really spoken on a deeper level, but
he's a legend, Jake. I got to spend some good time with him yesterday, but we'll get into yesterday. We'll come back in on the point that we left off on, and that was one thing that I'm pretty aware of is the fact that I believe 100% of people have an addiction. You know, there's definitely something, and I'm kind of philosophizing on this idea that you may have a certain amount of things you're addicted to. Like it might just be the way the human brain operates, but I just need to be able to figure out a way to put this into a study of some sort. But I think that we might have like 7 to 10 deeper ones, and then they might be more little trickled addictions.
Interesting, yeah. And
I do believe that when you take one out, you will always replace it with another.
Exactly.
And I think it just has to happen. So I think the aim of the game as we try and navigate our way through life is to try and build yourself the greatest foundation of addictions to help boost your living situation. And I think that everyone struggles, bro. It's because that I think that is really what the game is.
Yes, bro. Like, bro, I need that clipped, bro.
Great point, bro.
I need that on a wall or something.
Great
but
point.
I think, bro, that's the thing. We put so many people like on pedestals just because we see the flashy stuff or what we wish we could do, and put them on a pedestal, and then like, bro, it's just they're dealing with the same things a lot of the time. That's why we look up to them, inspire to them. It's just at a different level, bro. And like I think that's what kind of one of the mindset shifts that changed is that, bro, like everyone's dealing with something, and we're all like fucking broken, bro. Like,
I know.
Like we all try to put up a face, and like the more vulnerable you can be, it actually like opens up for somebody else to be vulnerable about whatever they're going through. A lot of the time we're just the same. So.
Yeah, it's a great point. I think that's one of the powers in just being your true self. You know, I think sometimes it might even. I'm not saying it's necessary, but I think I can find the positive part in where some people being toxic, I can see how you can turn that into a positive situation. Because even though being vulnerable is super necessary, you know, you need to have. And Delvin will laugh when he hears me say super necessary. So Delvin, so shout out to Delvin.
Love Delvin. Love Delvin.
But being vulnerable, as you said, the more vulnerable you are, the more someone else can open up, and then that will ripple on too.
Yeah.
So it's good to be your natural self, even if that person may not be looked at in a good light.
Yeah. Because
you learn about yourself, and other people learn through you what they don't like about themselves. You know, so being vulnerable is one thing, and definitely fucking being 100% honest at all times. Yeah. And
that's easier said than done, right? Yeah. But like, you know, it's a journey too. It's like on the flip side of things, I think it's also having like some type of like empathy for those people, because, you know, I think right now dealing with all types of people within like the gym, and that's what I want to do. there's going to be an issue with that because you're dealing with people like we just said, you know, everyone has issues and like differences, and there's so many like outside sources that like impact that of like age and like male female, and like you have to think about those things when I guess just conversing with those people, bro. And it's like once you think about those things and start linking those things of that's why they do that, like you actually are like like I see this person as like it's not that much of an issue anymore. You know, so.
Fuck yeah, dude. I already know I'm gonna fucking have a blast with this episode. Alright, you've already signed me up to this being one of my top fucking 5, so I might dial it back a little bit. Alright, I might start off a bit more simpler, and that's what like I do actually want to get to know you personally, not just like how you think and how you feel, but what you're interested in. So what if you weren't here today doing the podcast, what would you usually be spending your weekends doing?
Bro, it's changed so much since we've gotten back to from the States. I don't know if you heard we went for like April was there for like 4 weeks. I was for 5.
Yeah.
And just like, bro, my whole thing was like, do we stay here? Do we go back? Like, I miss my family. I left when I was like 19, bro. Like, I've changed so much. Wow. I was a fucking dickhead, bro.
Yeah.
So like, there's that guilt to that as well, and like, just like my parents don't know me, really. Like, but to your point, I mean, like it has changed. So like, I just set up stream, literally, was that yesterday? It feels so long ago.
Wow.
Cause like I did a good bit of time, but 8 hours versus, you know, people stream it for 12 to 14.
Yeah, no, 8's a good accomplishment, bro.
Oh, insane. But yeah, I'd probably just done that. Probably edited some, you know, like shorts, Instagram reels and stuff like that. I've got to do that probably when we get off this before. We're doing a UFC kind of tonight, so a couple guys from the gym. But yeah, I mean Sundays it's not my rest day, so like church feels like work to me. Yeah, and like I feel like so many people are afraid to say that. But it's not because like I don't like people or anything like that. I don't like connecting. It's just like I've had like past church trauma, and like I'm trying to get over that. So I'm actively doing that every time I go to church. Like I am literally that nigga that literally falls asleep in church every single fucking time. And it happened this morning. So yeah, so like you know, in the Bible there is a rest day, and like, you know, especially in this entrepreneurial way, like it's this thing of like, you have to go get it, and if you're not getting it, you're not doing something. And it's like, also you need to think about rest. So it would be like a typical day for me of just like training, editing videos, kind of planning for the next week, thinking through ideas of how like I want like my personal brand to be, and then just connecting with people. That's the biggest thing, whether that be a coffee, lunch, or just like, hey, do you want to shoot? Like, do you want to do a video? Like, it's super calm, bro. Like, nice. But I it switched in the past month of really focusing on like my own content, you know. So there's a time and place for everything. So like I'm just loving that I'm here now. Obviously there comes complications with that, and like real practical stuff of like, money's not rolling in like it was, bro. Like I just came from a very good job, thank God, and like it was a big ego hit, but like what I learned from that job was that I didn't really give a shit about the money anyway. Yeah, so like this is way 10 times more fulfilling, you know, like doing stuff like this. So but it'd be a typical day, bro. Just like, well,
you're still trying to squeeze a lot in, bro. You mentioned church, you mentioned gym, you mentioned working on social media and clipping content and things like that. And trust me, that's a big day. It coming from me, I know I do a lot of all of the above. I don't have much time for church. I don't go to church. I try to say that I go, but like realistically, I probably went once or maybe twice this year. It's not part of my routine, but that's still a big day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's what people don't get though. It's like, oh, you're just like editing videos and like thinking about, you know, like plans or finding inspiration. That's a big thing, you know, like keeping that inspiration going, because it doesn't matter. Like people are like, oh, like your shit's popping off and all that, and it's like, no, bro. Like you still have to keep things going, like, and still think about it at that same capacity. You can't. You'll never be content.
No,
whatever it'll be.
Yeah,
like,
if things are popping off, you've got to get working harder.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the aim of the game, bro. If things are going well, they got to start going better, just to maintain them to keep them going well.
Yeah.
They've got to be better.
Yeah.
And then when they're getting better, you got to go great just to keep them better.
You just gotta think bigger, bro, and like you get more tools as things go along. So like the most of the time that is money. So like how are you going to be a good steward of that? Like, so.
Yeah, no, I like it. You bring up an interesting point, and it's actually something that I've been thinking about lately too. So I wanted to see how you feel about it. But you mentioned that you've been trying to paint your own picture of how you want your brand to be. You know, how you are perceived to be. Like especially on the internet, it is a playground for us all to try and be the best versions of ourselves in whatever realm we want that to be. You know, that's the beauty of it. So I'm starting to believe, especially in our early days, you know, I believe this to be just stepping stones to what I want to be.
Yeah.
And I hope that you have the same mentality too. But I don't know if we have much choice in how we want our image to be. I think that we just have to be ourselves and do what we find interesting. And then the internet kind of chooses it for us. I think that other people are always going to have their own opinion, you know, and you choose whether you want to keep going through their opinion, and that might be a segue or a milestone to get to the next level of success or attention or money or whatever it is that we're chasing. Or you can use it to steer away from, you know, and you kind of have to play the part of not just the narrator but also the reader as well. Because you're trying to write a story, but everyone's kind of writing yours.
Exactly.
So I don't think I try and put too much pressure on myself to try and make a brand out of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I just navigate my way through the path that I'm going. You know what I mean? Avoiding obstacles and using things as like boosters in a racing game.
Yeah, bro. That's it. First, I want to ask, like, so as of right now, through these stepping stones, like, what kind of things, what story is being written, and how do you navigate through that now, like on a practical level and stuff?
So if I was to say just doing like podcast type content, I obviously started off in the beginning with no idea how I was going to do what I was doing, right? It was just, I shout out to Damo because he was a legend, and a while ago, it was probably 2.5 years, 3 years, I went to his place and we sat and I told him my idea and he's like, well, do you want to just get my GoPro and give it a go?
Yeah, right.
And I was like, yeah, why not? So we set it up and just had it pointing at the two of us in his lounge room. It was just like literally...
Just the GoPro picking up mic?
Just the GoPro mic, everything. Like nothing, bro. just for an attempt, bro. You know?
Yeah.
And like, it was almost like us reliving our favourite memories, some funny things, embarrassing each other, but it was nothing that the internet would even pick up on. It was just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
It was not a clip, it was not content, it was just a typical day, you know? And through that, I learned that, all right, I'm going to have to start orchestrating a character almost, you know? So you start to try and be a bit more funny, you try and be a little bit more deep, you try and be a little bit more serious. And then your friends and your family are the ones that are going to give you the most feedback, especially if you ask for it.
Yeah.
So I'm never shy to ask people. You know,
Yeah.
I'll pest. I got a couple people. Shout out to Zach. Shout out to Nixie. They listen to every single episode and they're pretty strong on listening to every single one.
Those are some homies, bro.
They're some just tops, bro. Like I love him. Shout out to him. He's a legend. And don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people that I'm aware of that listen to 90% of the pods. You know. So I'm very, very lucky in that sense. But I'll just ask them, especially the main. I'll just like Nixie. He's always every episode he'll call me up on a Monday. Bro, this bit was so funny. Hey, this bit was good. I like how I did this.
Yeah.
And it's so necessary to have someone like that because it reminds you of moments while you were doing it that you enjoyed, and okay, this is also what other people enjoyed. So let's try and double down on these types of questions that made people find this interesting because. For how amazing it is that I get to just like sit down and talk to you, that's my gift. That's the best thing for me. For other people tuning in, I have to also make it interesting for them as well. You know, so you kind of have to live for them and then live for you.
Yeah.
That's how I mean by like navigating your way through.
Okay, 100%. So like, we all want to be perceived in a certain way. Like in social media, it's like that's the point of it, bro. Like put your best stuff out there and stuff. So like, of course, I'm leaning into the gym stuff because that's the first thing that like I think I found I was passionate about. Other thing is jiu-jitsu, but like I
just said jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
Gangster. Yeah, nice.
Bro, I was going hard, but I was at that time I was trying to balance like heavy work. Like I'm not trying to compare to others, but like, you know, like I was chasing after the bag, bro. Like heavy. And so like 10, 11, 12-hour days and stuff. And then, you know, still be in the gym and then, you know, train twice per week at jiu-jitsu. And it's like, I look at it now and I'm like, Wes, what the fuck did you think was going to happen? Like, like, did you not think you were going to burn out?
Yeah.
But I was believing this lie of like, oh, like I need to do more. I need to do more. And sometimes less is more. So, of course, lean into like the aesthetic side of the gym, playing in angles and stuff. Oh, like I don't look as good like in that angle versus this angle, blah, blah, blah. And like, but there's certain lines I'm not going to cross of like, you see guys photoshopping, you see a big thing is fucking, you know, just steroid use in general. And like, that's not the brand I want to create anyway. I'm going to like lean into it because that's what people want to see, like you said. Mm-hmm. But also, you know, there are other things people want to see as well. Is like in the face stuff that like I love and I'm really about. That's the main top priority. Everything falls under that. Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool what you're saying. But it's cool because with the gym, I do find that I would love to be able to do the gym as a content creation as well.
Really?
I would love to be able to do it, bro. You I already see myself so much in you as well because jiu-jitsu is another thing that I'm super like excited to get into because I've done like a couple lessons of it and some of my mates are really good at it, but I know how much commitment it's going to take, right? It's like I haven't got that. I haven't got it. I haven't got the time. I haven't got the. I'm not able to give up anything to create more time for it too. But I'm trying to get retired as soon as I can because my next step after retirement is black belt of jiu-jitsu. Like I'm just super keen for jiu-jitsu. But you said you're liking it, but are you still doing any of the jiu-jitsu?
No, bro. Like I completely let that go. I think about a year ago of like, and I feel about shout out to Professor Mark. I hit him up this week. I was like, oh, I need some content, but anyway, I was like, I had to let that go, bro, because like I think part of the game is like just humbling yourself and being like you can't do everything, bro. Like you can't, and it's gonna hurt you more than help you. Like I was losing heaps of weight. I wasn't feeling great, like doing all that stuff. Like I didn't have the time to or the money to kind of do my diet like I do now or anything like that. Like anyway. Yeah, just not doing it anymore. I hoping like I do have the time for it now, and if I'm able to, you know, like help them out, content creation, like it makes more sense because I'm there. It's convenient, all that stuff, and can kind of hit two birds in one stone. But if that doesn't happen, I don't know if it's still the right time. So like that being said, I think. Taking from what you were saying of like you know, you wanting it to be a priority after, I think, you know, the one time a week or just like rolling with the boys, that's something, you know, and it's better than nothing. It reminds me of like when you were talking about the GoPro of like, oh, like, bro, shit was not intact at all, but like you were doing something. It is the start of it. And I think like momentum is a true ass thing, bro. Like,
powerful tool,
it's
isn't it?
so good. And just that start of just like taking a small little action, but it's also big at the same time. So many people don't do it. So like, bro, I just encourage you, like, you know, homies hit you up for a sesh, bro. Just do that, even if that is once a week or once a month.
Yeah, once a month is way more realistic if I'm lucky. I try and juggle a lot of things, and at the moment with myself, it's one thing that, and it's like I really do struggle for time, especially time management. I'm not very good, especially I'm not often on time. I'm not often. I
Same.
try to be. If things are really, really important, I will.
Yep.
But even when it comes to making plans with people, like bro, it could be a date and I'm never on time. It's just because there's too much I'm trying to do. I do not waste time. I'm very good at prioritizing what needs to get done when it needs to get done. But lately, what I've been trying to do is I'm trying to learn how to, and this was another point, and it reminds me of before when you mentioned rest. And I think I look at rest almost like, I don't think rest day, and this might just be me trying to depict the Bible and like trying to word it in a way that makes sense to me, but for whatever reason, I feel like rest day is situation based, and it might be like if you work 6 days a week, you don't rest on the 7th day. It might be that if you have a diet for 6 days a week, you don't diet on the 7th day. But I feel like all of these things can interchange, and you can spread your rest day throughout the week. So what I do is I have it that I do not work Sundays at all. I'm not trying to earn money on a Sunday.
Oh, just money wise.
Yeah, just money wise. Yeah, just money wise. And it's on a Monday that I do not do any creation, like content creation.
Yeah.
It's on a Wednesday that I do not spend time with any friends, you know, and I rest. I'd like to give myself a pause and a break from everything I'm doing, but I do separate it through the week. That way I'm not left on a Sunday like doing nothing, you know what I mean? Like watching TV all day or doing this. It's because I've already had my break from content. Today's editing day. You know, I've already had my break from the gym, so let's not focus on, let's go to the gym today. Which is a pretty interesting thing about rest, but it is definitely important. You can't, and you will burn yourself out if you try and do everything, but you can do everything at separate times at the same time, if that makes sense. You've just got to give yourself a big enough gap between your main focuses, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think, so for me, like, right now, rest doesn't look like not doing anything. That's what I thought before, or, you know, but, so, like, I'll still go to the gym. It's just, like, I won't train with someone else, or I won't film, or, you know, it does look like going to church sometimes, and I'm just, bro, it's a hard thing. Like, it sounds easy, I think, but like, I agree when you say it's like situation based as well. Like, it's going to look different at different parts of your life. Like, you can't just be like off the grid for a day. You know what I mean? It does look like, for me, I think, putting away the phone. Like, I delete Instagram, like all socials for a bit. That's a big main one. Don't want anything to go into my head, even though, like, it's still going to. That's the thing. Like, I'm not perfect. So, also, sometimes it does look like not going to the gym at all. Sometimes it does look like not doing anything, just sleeping in. Like, I've been doing that anyway.
Yeah, I'm with you, actually. I've been doing that a lot too lately.
Yeah, but like, oh, bro, I go into, like, as, like, content creators, like, I think there's so, I was talking to April about it last night, you know, this one guy, like, I'm not saying no names, but, and there's more people as well, but this person, like, I come in contact with more, and it's just with content creation, just downplaying everything that you're doing. Oh, it, like, looks easy, so, like, you're not doing any work, and, like, that just gets to me. But it is also like, bro, he doesn't understand. But
so does this individual that you speak of, does he do his own content creation?
So that's the thing, like, he does. Oh fuck, bro. If this
how about you can tell me, and I just won't put it in
this. You know, it's those things that people say that are kind of, what's the word? Not coincidence.
Like condescending.
Condescending stuff. Oh, like you're doing your little, like, videos and shit. Like that. That's a main one. I think everyone, like, gets, and I'm not. That's the thing. Everyone's gonna get it at the end of the day too. So, like, I can't hate him for it. But it's just like, how do I also, like, just be now that I'm aware of it, how do I go about it to where, like, I'm not a dickhead? Because I was telling April, I was like, I just want to be like you, like, look at how it's worked in the last month. It's been a fucking month. Show me someone else is doing that, and this is where the ego comes out of, like, like, I've had those experiences to bring me to doing it for myself, for God, whatever, and like what I've been saying has worked, and of course I'm not perfect, and I'm not claiming to be, but what you're saying makes no fucking sense in this situation.
Yeah, yeah. No, I feel ya, and I've definitely had that experience in the past myself, and people just won't understand until they do it. They really don't. Like say for example, the podcast. It's like it may just look like we just have to just have a great time and talk, which we do. That's the golden apple on top of this. You know, that's the fucking dream part of it.
Yeah.
But then it's like, even when it comes to finding the episode for the week, that takes time. It takes messages and calls and organisation, and you have to plan your schedule around other people's schedules.
And people will be like, "Oh, that's nothing, bro. That's nothing."
And it can sound like nothing, but you're also juggling the same obstacles everyone else is juggling with full-time jobs and families and friends and commitments and gyms and passions and foods and shopping and sleeping and fucking laundry, bro. Like, you've got a busy day, and then you're trying to chuck this in as well. Then you do the podcast and it's great fun.
Come on.
But then you like transfer everything over to a computer. You wait, you got like a period of time that you like have to find something to be productive in while you wait for things to download, and then you get to work, bro. And like, I set myself a goal. Like, I drink a lot of water. I really, really do drink a lot of water. But to keep me motivated,
I was gonna say I probably need some. But
there's a bottle right there for you, just on the bottom shelf. Yeah, yeah. But then it's like I have to convince myself, right? Do not have any more water until you've smashed out 45 minutes worth of this. So then like, you get it done as you get 45 minutes of content, not of real life time, done as fast as you can, so you can finally get up and get yourself a glass of water and come back down. And it's like, I could spend, and I could tell myself, do not get up for 10 hours. You know what I mean? You do not get off this seat for 10 hours because this has to get done.
Yeah.
And that's the type of things with any type of content creation. So I feel your struggle because people will never see that. People won't see that. You know what I mean? Like, it looks like all fun and games, but nothing good should come easy, and I believe that.
Yeah, there's a reason that like everyone's not doing it either. Yeah. Like, if you, bro, you talking all this shit, but like, where's your shit? Like, I think that goes into like, bro, I think everyone has like somewhat of a story that other people can resonate with, and like you can share that on social media. I'm not saying be a gym influencer, have a podcast, the big ones, you know what I mean? There's other travel, that's a big one as well. There's other like niches that you could be into, that you could be the next fucking Joe Rogan of that or whatever. But like
the Michael Jordan of fucking construction, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
You could be the freaking Tiger Woods of like charity work. You know, you could be the greatest of any field.
Yeah. I love to see it, especially like there's a couple people at the gym. He's going into like Muay Thai. So trying to do content creation around that, because you don't see that as much. People in the fighting game are doing it like after the fact. They've already made a name. So there's definitely a hole in there that he could definitely be. And then there's another guy. He's like he's got a business around like detailing cars. Shout out Gus. Shout out Kuzi. And just those two boys. They're so young, and I'm like, I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have been in that mindset at 19. That being said, that, you know, there's things that they have to get over. But, you know, this step of actually just going out and doing it.
Just picking up a video and pressing record.
Yeah, bro. Like, that's such a big thing of the game.
I love meeting people that understand it, bro. I love meeting people that understand it.
It's such a big thing of the game, bro. And it's hard. It's hard. Because it doesn't happen with just one day normally. I have yet to meet someone that's like, oh, like I had this idea of like starting content creation and just boom. Bro, it's been like over years or a year, months, whatever.
I know what you mean. It's honestly, it's so refreshing just having the conversation with someone who understands it, and it's nice to be able to vent. You know, and I feel like it's a bit of a vent of stuff that is pain in the ass. But for everything that is a pain in the ass, like I know you would agree with me too, it is the most rewarding feeling that I can achieve on a personal creation type, you know what I mean? Like, I do like building stuff as well. Like, I get a lot of thrill out of like building like a desk or a piece of furniture or even what I do for my work, but there's nothing that makes me more satisfied than like putting the right little sound to the right little visual and then this making that fit. You know what I mean? It's a
The shit
it's a
that nobody
harmony.
cares about
Yeah,
though,
yeah.
like as well. It's like I'll show April a video and I'll be like, bro, you didn't even notice that. Like, oh, like that was that's my favorite part, bro. Like,
Yeah.
oh, damn.
Well,
Oh,
I
who cares?
pick apart other videos too, and I'm deep with doing it with podcasts where I like watching and seeing their editing style or their. It could just be the way they orchestrate conversation. I like picking apart a lot of different things, but even when I watch a YouTube video or a movie, I love watching the way a camera could fade out or pan into, or the way they're able to capitalize on people's emotions by just pausing for that little bit extra. It might just be a simple scene of someone saying something, and then the camera pans towards the sky, and then that kind of invites the feeling of deep thought. You know what I mean? And the art that can be created, bro, with pressing a button.
It is an art,
phenomenal.
bro. It is an art. Like, oh, bro, like you have your art of just like communication, but like you're adding content creation to it, and it's like, oh fuck, like now you're doing two things. Those are two full fucking time jobs, bro. Like, so like sales, basically, you know, communication, and then fucking this content creation thing, and people just don't get it, but like it's good. It is refreshing, like you said. So
fucking awesome. I'll have a quick pause too. I'd like to say shout out to Fossey. I did mention in the last episode that there'd be a thing up here, so Fossey got me this Doxcast sign for my birthday right here. So shout out to you, Fossey. I really do appreciate it, mate. And I haven't sent you any photos, even though you've been asking, because I'm waiting for you to watch this episode so you can see it. So big shout out and big thank you to that. I want to go backwards in time a little bit in yourself, and that's the fact you did mention to me South Carolina, where you used to live, over in the States.
yeah.
But before I would ask you any questions, I'd like to say that I do believe in God as well, so it's an interesting, refreshing conversation piece. And I don't know, we don't have the same belief, I already know we don't, in it, but I do believe in the power that God can create by bringing people together. And it's like, my destiny is calling me to move to South Carolina, and I've known it for a crazy time, bro.
Yo, what?
I know it has been, bro. Like, growing
bro,
up,
we're gonna be connected for like fucking years.
Yeah, growing up, I've always known it, and I'm super passionate about my career. So one thing that inside of my career, one of my greatest role models and inspirations, he left his company to go start a company in South Carolina, and he's asked me multiple times over the years to drop everything and move there and just try it out over in the States with him. Yeah. And I know that I will. That's the thing. Like, I know that I will, but.
Did you know I was from South
I
Carolina?
had no idea until you mentioned it on this episode.
This is a God thing. Like,
and for me, that's just so much more evident. People can use the word coincidence, but I know how I feel, and I know why I feel it, and I know that I was meant to hear you say that, you know. So very interesting. So this isn't just information for everyone else. This is also important to me. I'd like to know, what was it like growing up over in the States, you know, because. And can you see it being differently from the way that people grow up here in Australia?
Yeah, man. I do see.
Don't feel like you have to jump straight until you can chew your food first.
No, it's straight, bro. Like I'm a nasty nigga, so like, bro, April and Jenny, shout out both of them that they're trying to teach me. But like every time we go to dinner, I'm like, oh, like where do you put the forks and knives? Like,
shout out to them too, because I've been in that situation many times.
They told me a story about like, oh, like Pat you came over and like they were dancing or something.
Oh no, we can't have that story. please, I'm not ready for that story.
Anyway, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So yeah, growing up overseas, what was it like as opposed to what you think growing up here was like?
I always knew, like, first, my dad was in the military, so like he moved out when he was 17, and like he's kind of like the caretaker, provider of the family. Like family, not just immediate family, the whole entire family. Wow. So like he had an amazing career, like in the military, in the Coast Guard, and worked super hard, and you know, from 17. So like he was always pushing me to kind of like leave and stuff. He was able to create this.
And when you say leave, sorry to cut you off, but is that in the sense of like leave the house and like go explore?
Yeah. Just explore in general. Didn't have like Australia on the list or anything like that. It was just like and when I brought that up, he was like, yeah. Come up with a plan. Well, like I did beforehand because I knew it. I knew he would want like a plan around it. I was like, can you support me in this way? And he's like, yeah, like you really, because back then I wouldn't have thought in that business mind or just like bigger thinking of like, oh, I need to actually plan this. I'm very fucking impulsive. I'm just like, oh, like it makes sense like practically things, but I'll just jump and be like, oh, let's do it, bro. Let's fucking try it out. So yeah, he always like pushed me. So I knew that. I always thought it was Cali.
Fuck. I am going to have to stop this.
No.
There was one thing that I forgot to do, alright, so I'm going to have to press start recording.
No way! Yeah. What do you use?
The computer. Let me just start it first.
It's all good.
But we have got the camera mics,
Yep.
so I will be able to keep what we have.
Yep.
It just won't be as quality sounding as what we have now.
Fuck quality.
So let me just say quickly, everyone. Yes, I've done it again. Yeah. Oh my God.
Fine.
But now you can really see the difference in sound quality.
Okay.
I apologize to everyone listening, but I will definitely keep what we've already had in because it's been so good. So yeah, your dad did push you to leave and you had to come up with a plan.
No need to apologize, bro. Like it happens. Like people, the right people will understand. Like and just like laugh about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was always pushing me out. I thought I was going to Cali or something. Like, bro, everybody thinks I'm from Cali. Like I have no Southern accent. I don't know what that is, why that is.
Yeah.
I always hated it growing up, hearing it. But, so yeah, I mean, Sydney was a bit of a shock for me, but looking back on it, it made sense. And God had his little seeds from literally when I was like 14 of, hearing about Hillsong. And
Also, it's a well-known, Hillsong's well-known overseas.
Bro, everywhere. It was the biggest church.
Wow.
100%.
Because I know that it was literally the biggest church in the southern hemisphere of the world.
Nah, bro. I think worldwide,
Oh,
man.
wow.
Like worldwide. Because, I still do, but they do like tours and stuff like that. That's unheard of, bro.
Yeah.
That was unheard of back then.
Yeah.
Like a church doing a tour? Like
Yeah.
what? Oh, it's got to be money. It's got to be about money. Anyway, that's
We
going into
will
another-
get back into Hillsong because I'm a massive fan.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool. Yeah. And that's the thing. They do have great music and stuff like that, and there's a place for it. But growing up in South Carolina, I think I realized, even though I didn't realize at the time, was like people were stuck in this kind of like chill mode of like, like small town syndrome, I think.
Yeah, that's
maybe you
a
call
great
it.
expression.
But
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I wanted to see the world. We traveled all the time. Like when I was super young, my mom was from Hawaii. That's where I was born as well. And we would go every summer for like 6-7 years straight.
Yeah, wow.
And
how far is that from South Carolina? I'm not very good at geography.
maybe like 4 hours to LA and then another like 5-6 to Hawaii.
Yeah, and that's on a plane?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, nice.
Yep. So
It's basically like our Thailand, Bali, Malaysia kind of travel.
10 times more expensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, I've got a gripe against Bali, but we'll get to it.
Yeah, I do too. I do not like Bali, bro.
I think everyone does.
Yeah, I do not like Bali.
Ways. It's beautiful. It's great, but
Yeah.
I just got sick twice.
Yeah.
In 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think the land itself has some beautiful things to see, but I'm not a fan of the continent, the country, because I just don't like the people, to be honest with you. I just think I had a very terrible experience
right.
with people there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair
So
enough.
try not to pass too much judgment on the entire culture
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
entire population, but
Yeah.
I personally will not be going back.
Yeah. Oh
I
wow.
will not be going
Jeez.
back,
Not
yeah.
gonna give it another chance at all.
Nah, not at this
What
period.
did y'all do?
Not at this period of time. Yeah.
Yeah, no, sweet. Maybe not sweet. But, yeah, so like always pushed me out. But the small town syndrome, and like I knew I didn't want to be stuck in that. I think it was like a year and a half up until I like moved here that I was like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Like I was 18 now. I was just getting my head stuck on straight. I was like, bro, it can't be the military. It can't be. Please, no. I already grew up in that for 18 years.
And what was a big push away from that? Was it because your dad did it and he didn't have a good experience, or you didn't like the lifestyle of it, or what?
It was
What
just
steered you away?
Yeah, it was It was the like I guess the that's the thing. I love a straight line. I love a boundary, black line, but like that's the thing. It doesn't take in consideration actual people and their experiences and their feelings. And like my dad never had that. Like, or my dad never did that when I was growing up. I didn't have my mom there. My stepmom came in later, but now I'm finding out that like she was there in great ways, but he kind of like not hit her, but like kind of like told her to back off because he was like in a good way wanting me to have that relationship with my own mother. So it was just like fucking, it was just like smash me all the time. Pause. But
it's so good to hear someone else use that. I've never heard anyone else use
I never
that.
I never do. But I say a lot of I have said a lot of homo shit on accident.
Pause is good. No one ever gets it when I hit it, bro.
So I was like, just learning from that, in that time, not realizing, I was just aware, but like not wanting to be down that same route, not because I think I 100% would have of like, oh, like this is how I grew up. So I would have probably meant more of a tight ass if I went to the military, and I don't want to be that, even though I am a dickhead. But,
well, that's a good though to cut you off. I do cut people off a lot too. I just,
go for it.
If I don't get what's in out, all of a sudden I have like 100 ideas and I'm stuck. But I think that
I get it.
Parents are so dope because you get to learn so much about what you should do in life, and it doesn't matter whether you take what they do as a good or a bad experience. You learn so much more of what you don't want to do in life. You know what I mean? And I'm assuming, I'm speaking for you when I say you have a good relationship with your father. Like so far I haven't heard you say anything too negative, so I'm just going to leave it at that for a minute. But even though you said you did like the discipline and the strict and the routine and things like that and the straight and narrow and like, it's good to know that, I like it, but it's not how I want my future to be,
Exactly. They're the number ones people to kind of like learn from. Even though I didn't fucking listen growing up, like he's, I don't know if your parents said this, but they're like, one day you're going to understand.
Of course.
I probably all. And then, bro, just at a small level, I'm understanding now.
My dad said it like this. He started saying it for a long time. And as I started to get to a certain age, he started to say, he's like, even though I know you're not going to understand what I'm saying right now, one day you'll know. And I hit people with that, bro. I hit my little brother with that. I hit youngins like that. I hit apprentices like that.
Damn, you're already using it. He's already using it.
I'm going to tell you this, but you're not going to understand what I'm saying until one day you do.
I got to use that. Because with that's the thing. I'm always thinking like kind of like business stuff and all that. But that's what you do. You learn, you live and learn, apply it other places. But there's a lot of my following that is young, and that's one of my missions, I think, is just having a realistic approach to the gym, but just life in general, of being real with these kids, of like, yo, that dude's not natty. That dude, like, that's a photoshopped shit. I can see it, bro. Like, bro, also, like, you don't have to, bro, go on a strict ass diet, stuff like that, and being real with kids, but they're not going to get it, like, and I can't force that either. You know what I mean? I can just have my part to play of like, did I say it or did I not?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I think that the best thing any person can do is lead by example. It's people say monkey see, monkey do, like, especially in our trade, that people say don't people say do as I say, not as I do. And I think that is the most counteractive conversation piece, because I think that you will follow people, like, say a leader of an army or a king. The greatest kings of all time in history were the ones who were at the front of the march. I think that the best tradesmen that I've ever dealt with, they didn't just tell people what to do; they did it and expected them to follow. It's one thing I've really learned doing a trade, is that you could tell someone to sweep the floor and he will grow resentment until the point where he doesn't have respect. He has respect for you, but it's based on fear. To really get someone's admiration, and that is the strongest place to lead someone from, is that you have to lead by example. Like it blew my mind going from one company to another, because I came from a company of a serious hierarchy where you have like the boss. I don't know if I've said this before on the podcast too, but the boss would tell me to do something, and me being the supervisor of the boys that we had, I would tell someone else to do it, and he was my best mate, so he'd tell someone else to do it. And then by the time I got back to the first year apprentice, you could have 4 or 5 guys standing around watching the first year do it. And no one cared because the job was getting done.
Yeah.
Moving to a new company, I was the newest member of a team. And at the end of the day, 5 people picked up a broom, 5 people picked up a dustpan, and 5 people cleaned up. And we all got out of there together. And it was so different from anything I'd ever experienced at all for fucking 8 years of doing a trade, 7 years of doing a trade. So I think that, as you mentioned, like, it's good to be able to tell people, look, and expose things that might be false truths, where, yeah, this guy's not natty. Yeah, this guy says this, but he's, doing something differently. But the best way is to show what's possible by doing what you truly believe too. Yeah. And that's just by being the best version of yourself,
100%.
Which is cool. I think it's an awesome market, bro, the fitness market. And you mentioned that I think the wording you used was like your main priority or your main focus is your faith. I think that is such a unique market in itself, bro. Have you ever heard of the content creator George Janko?
I might have seen some of his stuff, but
I will send him. I'll send him your way. He was a guest host on the Impulsive podcast.
George Janko.
So he has his own podcast now since he left Impulsive, and he's been doing God's work for years and years and years. But now he runs his own show. And it's one of the fastest growing things. He got a bit of a helping hand from Logan Paul by putting him on the platform he did. But since he's left, he has not lost any traction. He's only gained it, and he focuses his faith above anything else, bro. And it's powerful, bro. It's powerful.
I didn't know his name, but I've watched like some of his stuff, and then I remember watching like a YouTube video of like why like shit went down with Logan and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that's like actually hella sad. But instead of, like going in the dopes of, just you never heard of him again. He's doing his own thing, which it's the beauty in it. It's like what I see is that like God is still there, and like what's his George. George has his own like heart desires, and I think that's something people miss, is that I was talking to a guy and he was like, oh, like I don't want to surrender my power to to someone else. And it's like, well, in our belief, our creator like is the one that made you. So like he made you. He knows what you truly desire, and as you're trying to figure that out in life, if you just like go to him versus trying to like figure that out through like all this shit, is like it's much easier just to go to the person that like literally made you. So
that's a great mindset. I've never ever thought about faith like that.
Yeah.
You're asking the person who knows for the advice, and he will give it to you. Yeah. That's a good mindset. 'Cause I think about it that way, bro. And I have 99% of the belief system that Christianity has. I really do, in terms of like, there is a higher power. You're important. You're special. He knows what's best. If you give him your practice and your sacrifice and your time and your dedication, he will give you tenfold in return. I believe in the offering of 10% for a return of 100%. Like I believe in all the practices are the same, and I've never thought about it in that sense. Where why worry about the things that you don't have the answers for when you can just ask for them? I look at it in a way, and
it sounds really simple.
It does, bro. It is, and me and Patrick talk about. I talk about it with Patrick the most out of anyone.
Yeah, wow.
Because he's a very strong faith-based individual.
Okay.
Especially coming from the same family as April and the Browns, like they're very, very good at practice, and I word it to him in a way that's like, most people don't know that we all have a superpower. And it doesn't matter what situation you end yourself in, you have a superpower to get out of it, and that's by prayer. Yeah. It's when you pray, it's literally a fucking superpower, bro. People don't get it because it might just be a simple thing. Like the other day, we were celebrating a Bucks party for Luke Sessions' Shout out to Luke Sessions. It was a great weekend away, but the car just shit itself on the way home.
Wow.
And we'd start it and it would just not work. And then we'd start it, it would not work. And then we just prayed.
Yep.
And then we started it and it drove. And it was like, it can be looked at as coincidence, but that was one example of the countless times that we find ourselves doing that.
Bro, it's funny. Sorry to cut you off, but like, bro, just not because the Bible says something about actually like testing God, because anyway, don't want to go off track, but just try it, and you'll see how many coincidences pop up.
Yeah,
and I think that's what's amazing is like, as well, on a flip side of things, is that like he knows everything. He knows like what we're gonna choose, when we're gonna fall, all that stuff, and he creates this amazing plan around it for you, and like you're not gonna be able to see that. So I think one thing, big mindset shift was like, in my previous role working, shout out Budget Dog. If you look him up, he's finance guy that went from doing like kind of like tax strategist. Sorry, it's been a minute since I've worked with him, but influencer guy. But his track record's great. So he's moved to personal finance and helping people with that, and business has like boomed since like I was at the start of it. So it was amazing. But one of my gripes was like, bro, like I've been with you since the start, and like having experience before, like I can like not give you advice in this situation, but I want to know what's going on. I want to like know like, oh, like what piece is going here, what piece is going there. And like when I had left the first time and came back after, I think it was like 4 months or something like that. Like he had, built like an actual team, and it was more of him being a CEO. And like, I was kind of wanting that same, I guess, role coming back into things, and like wanting to be in the loop of things, and like just to learn in all good, like, I'm not trying to like throw down his business or anything. Mm-hmm. I just want to know. So like how to act in that, and like how to take action and shit, and be a good employee, whatever. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like he is the CEO, and like I don't need to know all that shit. Yeah. And I see it the same thing with our faith of like, we don't need to know everything that's going on that God is doing, like with this person, because he's got so much on his plate. He's got literally 7 billion people, whether they're going to know him or not, to kind of like create this plan around. And this person's going to intertwine with this person and all that. And how's it going to affect that? Like our fucking minds cannot think of that shit. So like,
and let me tell you, I try to comprehend it, and I'm not possible. Yeah.
100%. But there's so much on our plate that like, at the end of the day, bro, like it's not worth stressing over on our like small little like part to play that we have in this, even though it can be big, quote unquote big in our society. But there's so much more. It's so much bigger, this world, than just us. So like, there's no need to stress about these little things that come up. And if we submit that authority to him, he's going to give us what we want. And don't be just like praying just so like, oh, let me get what I want. Like he knows when you're doing that shit too. Yeah. It's just, it does have to be real and authentic. And you have to just do that time over and over and over again, those prayers, and it grows. It's a relationship. It's not, our relationship, was nothing before really, before that Bucks party, and like us just doing this for an hour, 2 hours, it grows it so much. Same thing with God, bro. Like it's really simple. Like you can't know someone, even like God, just because you can't see him. If you believe he's there, you can't know him if you don't spend time with him. And that's just what I tell people, is just like, bro, like if you got 5 quality minutes with God, he'll show you what you can do. So.
Yeah, it's a great point, bro. It's a great point. And I'm always inviting people into the idea of it, because I understand what it's like. And before I get
I think you do.
I'll quickly ask you as well. What was your childhood like? Did you have a faith-based home growing up?
Yeah, for sure. And was always in church. We bounced around churches. Didn't really understand the community factor of it and how like powerful and how great that was. Like I played like keys going in, but at the same time, like that's when I was like doing drugs and stuff at the same time, and everyone knew it. But like they were like, this guy's still in church, which looking back on is like pretty emotional, and like there's people there that is like, bro, they really didn't care. Other people judged, of course, but judging a child anyway. But you know, God still had me there. So like I played a little bit. I interned with my mentor growing up. He was also the guy that like took me in when my dad like kicked me out. Like he kicked me out like 3-4 times. So, he showed me that community factor of just family, and then also within the church, because this dude can talk up a fucking storm, bro. Like he is, bro. Like he walks into a room and like his name's Kenya. He's just that dude.
Yeah. He's that guy. Yeah.
He's
when people always say you're not that guy, he is that guy.
He's him.
Yeah.
He's him. There you go. But but you know, I've had my like drop-ins, dropouts. Like I think during COVID while I was here, I would like pop in for like online sessions, and I've always tried to just talk to God at a convenience, which is good, but it's bad in the sense of like, oh, like on my time, you know what I mean? And that still has an effect, you know? But I think in the past like 2 months, it's just really come to this point of like full reliance. And I know it's not full reliance because I'm not perfect, like, but like I am trying. And like, that's been one of my biggest prayers is, God, do whatever you want to do. I know there's things that I'm planning, but if it's in your will, 100%, like I submit to that. And even though if I don't understand, I know you might not show me in the time. Like I just pray that I never fall off like I did. Just, you know, help me with this. And even times like rough times of like, I'd be like just saying a quick prayer of like, oh, like God, I want to go into all these things, like the anger prayer, like bringing all those emotions, not disrespecting, but like literally taking everything to him of like, and just being real, you know, having that realness to him has made it so much easier to like do things like this or the content or just like people in general I talk to daily. So,
and is that like out of a point of confidence or out of a point of like, I don't need to worry because it's not my burden to suffer alone? Or how do you feel more comfortable? Like what makes you, how do you feel that everything's gotten easier?
It's 100% God confidence. Definitely through my like experiences and like being able to look back on my testimony and see like what God's done, gives the confidence as well. But it's just like God showing me like who I am and like revealing, we talked about your true self. I think I believed lies so much and talking. I don't like giving too much cred to the enemy, but it's important to talk about. Of like he is a literal master manipulator. Any type of truth, he knows how to manipulate it. He knows the Bible better than we do. He knows.
And
like,
who's he? Sorry, who's he? When
the devil, like enemy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've said enemy for a while. Satan, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But
evil.
Evil in general.
Yeah.
And demons, whatever. They are smart as shit and like smarter than you in a way of like knowing the Bible, like I said, and knowing your weaknesses of what gets to you, and they will like harp on that shit. But people, they're like, you know, they see, like I struggle with this, so that's what they're going after. No, like the devil likes to manipulate things. The most easy things. I don't want to get political, but you know, we see what's happening in the States. We see what's
Oh,
happening.
I know. Yeah, sorry to cut you off, but you just
Yeah,
made
yeah,
me
go for it.
realize something incredible, and I'm assuming it's like the devil will manipulate you in a way to try and make it like, yes, this is what we need to do in order to best improve, but
Yep.
little does he know he's actually luring you into a
Yeah.
further away position in society.
So say that you're like this close with God at the moment. He's not gonna be like, oh, like, I don't know, like go do drugs. He's not gonna say that. He's gonna be like, oh, like, bro, hit the vape that your homie has. Like, ask him for it, or like your homie.
It's a gift. It's a gift. Yeah,
stuff
yeah. It's
like
okay
that.
to accept gifts.
It's okay, and then it's just like those. Sorry,
That's all right.
it's those small yeses. Those small yeses. It reminds me of this movie. No, bro. Like I'll send it to you after. It'll hit me probably on this cast, but it reminds me of a movie of like it does not look like like all the things that you would say no to. It's those things that would say yes, that those small yeses get you to saying the big yes. So same thing with God though. Same thing. Like trust you with a little, then he can trust you with a lot. So that goes into wealth. That goes into just people, influence in general. If you're not stewarding the small things, how are you going to steward the big things? And
no, I feel ya, and I think I'd like to go into evil in itself and the distractions that it may cause, because I do think about that kind of stuff a lot too, and what my role is to play in this world, and how my relationship is with God versus my relationship with the devil. And I feel like I've had a pretty strong relationship in the past with both. So I like to, and the yin yang, which is like a symbol that I really do try and put a lot in my life, is a strong believer I have. And the Bible does quote that the stronger you get to God, the closer you are with God, the closer the devil is to you. And it's almost in a way that like God will test his strongest soldiers, Yeah. But before I get too deep into it, when we were talking about the idea of just praying for people to give it a go, and it's like almost like a superpower that most people don't realize. Is that I don't think any harm could ever have from people giving it a go. All right, I think there's a big stigma around people with faith and people with religions and all these things, and it's unfortunate. But I do actually understand it from these people's perspective.
Yeah, same.
Because I never grew up in any religion at all.
Wow.
I do not have a single family member that I could think of that has any faith in God, in Jesus Christ. It could be in any practice. It could be in Muslim. It could be in Buddhism. I think that there is some spiritual members in my family, but there's no one who is religious.
Yeah.
So I get and I feel like I can relate very well with the fact that it's actually important, I think, to give it a go. And the most important things I could say about faith is how do I explain it? But gratitude, I think, would probably come first, because as we mentioned, it's not good to be like test God and pray to see if he's real and things like that. But I do think that if you are just saying thank you for things that you do have, then that could lead you to asking for more, or asking for guidance and things like that. Because if you really are grateful for the positions that you're in this world, treat it like it is a gift and say thank you for your gift. And I think that 100% of people who are not religious do not say thank you. And just by being thankful, you're more grateful. And then by being more grateful, you're opening yourself up to accepting more positive energy. And on top of that, I think that if...
Going on gratitude, if you want. So a big thing I guess I'm trying to learn is, obviously the Bible's so big, so there's so much stuff that like none of us have even like looked at. But it says that, or you can't have I think within the Christian belief, this might be like an old belief that I've had that I need to work through. But God cannot, I don't even know if I want to say that, but like God cannot hear you without, having that acceptance of Jesus Christ. So like those gratitude prayers, can he hear those if you have not accepted Christ yet? Because God still sees you in the sin that you're in. And without accepting the gift that Jesus gave you, there is no connection there, you know?
I hear what you're saying, and I don't want to. To be honest, I say I don't want to argue, but I do really like to argue. But I don't like my arguments to be arguments. I like to have discussions.
Yeah.
And I will never discredit anyone's belief in Jesus Christ, because I've also got a strong belief in Jesus Christ too.
Okay.
But I personally believe in my strongest form of gratitude would be the gift of life itself, and I feel like God is my answer to that question. All right, He's the reason why I'm here today, and I feel like a gratitude in the sacrifice that Jesus Christ made is an even stronger commitment to your belief in God. But I personally would put all of my prayer and worship around God, the idea of God itself, more than I do about Jesus Christ.
Okay.
So I do genuinely believe that Jesus Christ was a person who really did live on this planet, who really did sacrifice himself, and who was cast to be crucified by the community that he was in, because they weren't happy with the fact of how strong this individual was, how highly this person was, you know. Whether I want to say he was just a person or whether he really was the Son of God, I really do believe that Jesus Christ was real, and he did die to sacrifice himself for us. So through prayer and worship and gratitude towards him, it's tenfold, 100-fold, 1,000,000-fold more stronger of a connection to God than anything else. But I personally I don't pray. I don't know what it is, but I do not pray to Jesus at all.
Yeah.
I just pray to God, and I just say the gift giver of life. I want to say thank you, and I want to say that I want to say that I think I want to invite everyone to the idea of God before I want to invite anyone to the idea of Jesus. Does that make sense?
That is from your, I think, from your just background around faith. I think there is how it is being used of that perspective, maybe is the word, because God is the Father. He is the provider, and I guess planner of this world and just your life and maker and all that. And I'm still like along my journey as well. So like, don't take this and be like, oh, Wes said like he's not a true Christian and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Take it, whatever. I don't care.
Well, a true Christian's a dangerous word to throw around. It's a dangerous word.
Exactly.
I think that's a judgmental word.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So your belief around Jesus, you believe so you don't know, I guess, whether he's like God, as a lot of people say, or Son of God, as a lot of people say, or a person.
I think if I hear the word Son of God, I would be able to resonate with that and be like, everything is a belief.
Yeah.
I do not have 100% certainty in anything. The only thing I know is I think, therefore I am. You know what I mean? Like everything else is a form of belief. I have trust, I have faith, I have all this. And I would say I have faith in the concept that Jesus was the Son of God. Now, my ideology behind it is, has there ever been anyone else who can be looked at as a son of God? Like I do consider myself to be a son of God if God is the Father.
Yeah.
I just think, and I do want to go back a little bit because something just popped into my head that we were discussing earlier, and that's in the power of worship and the power of prayer and the power of gratitude. And I think the one thing a lot of people don't understand is it's all called practice, all right? And just like, and it popped into my head when we were talking about rest days as well, I was going to mention the fact that you're only meant to practice rest. You give it your full attention and you give it your full commitment, but no one's expecting anyone to be perfect in any field, including inside the field of religion. You are practicing. So you don't necessarily even have to believe it to get started. You're practicing your forgiveness, you're practicing your gratitude, you're practicing your belief. And I think that one thing, and you're actually teaching me it just by doing this podcast is, and I didn't realize this before, but you mentioned a God confidence, which I'd never heard those two words in order before. And you're making me realize that everyone that I meet that ever has been to church, they have actually got a stronger form of confidence than anyone else. Does that make sense? Like,
I think I don't want to like go off, and please hold that point. But coming from someone that like fell off, and like the reason I fell off was because I felt like there were no real authentic people. You go to Hillsong and you're like, people are way too fucking happy. Like, why are they? Like, there's no real in that. Like, but like I was expecting that realness without the relationship with those people, and it's like they were just showing. Maybe they were. Maybe they were faking it. That's not my thing to judge
or to know.
Yeah. It does not matter. But you know, there is that God confidence there of like, I can be there to just serve others and like just be happy in that situation. Anyway.
Yeah. But I really think that is so true, bro. And I couldn't believe it. I'm gonna have to just quickly answer this, my brother.
Yeah, bro, go for it. Don't stress, bro. This is insane, bro.
Thank you. I am very happy
I was so shocked. I was like, what the? This is not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Not that like before it was bad or anything. Like it was just like,
it was a good entry level, but it was nothing compared. I already know. Yeah. So I do appreciate it.
This is a vibe.
I take it.
I didn't think we were going to be talking about faith this much. I'm actually kind of shocked, but
yeah. Well, I to be honest, I don't have too many people that do have as big of a confidence in faith, you know, around me. I don't. And I really mean it when I say that I think that people do have a God confidence. And I've been to Hillsong and I love Hillsong Church. I've been to other churches and I've been inside of church communities and people carry themselves differently. And I think it must be tapped into that superpower, bro, that I notice, you know what I mean? And God's an interesting word because there's so many different descriptions behind that word, you know? And it's very hard to put all these pieces of a puzzle together, especially not being someone who has been brought up to believe anything else.
yeah.
And one thing that I noticed especially, and I have mentioned this on the podcast before, but my favorite story of the Bible by far is Noah's Ark.
Interesting.
Because the great cataclysmic flood that is referenced in the Bible is actually a real prehistoric recorded piece of history. And we know it to be true, even though it is not taught as a form of education because it pushes back on everything that we've been thought to believe. But we have evidence now showing it. And for those who haven't seen, I've mentioned it before, but please click the link in the description below to watch Graham Hancock's documentary called Ancient Apocalypse.
I'm going to be clicking on it too, for sure, because I haven't seen it. But
it is so good, bro. It is so good. And he breaks down this event of a ancient flood and shows the actual truth without any cohesion, without any manipulation. It's just straight facts and evidence as to why this flood happened. Now, in this story of the Bible, it references that God spoke to Noah and gave him the prerequisite knowledge that there's going to be a flood, that is going to be basically like a clean slate that will take over the land. And he's been given the responsibility of building a boat, and it's going to have 2 of every animal and all these things. What I take out of that story is it's just a story that has been passed down through generations like a game of Chinese whispers that actually does come from a real prehistoric event. But the description of God in that story would be God gave Noah the prerequisite knowledge of a flood, which tells me that Noah, who was a wise man, who obviously was aware of his surroundings, who was a higher level of education type of individual compared to most, he had a gut feeling, you know, and that's the message inside it, is that when God spoke, it was a message from within, that he had an intuition to build a boat that is going, because there is a cataclysmic event coming, you know, a flood. Now,
and how crazy he would have just looked.
And of course he would have looked crazy. But what's important is this man is already a smart man. It is referenced in that story that he was I can't remember the word they used for it, but it was almost like he was an intelligent individual, right? And because he was an intelligent individual, he had an instinct, and that word instinct, again, is just a word that man has created to help describe a feeling. I think the description of God is the feeling that a smart man got to help give him the awareness that something is happening. And I think that the Bible is a library full of stories describing a description of what God is inside of each individual book, you know what I mean, or episode or chapter, because the Bible has been stretched out for, it's literally an unknown amount of years. We don't know how long it's been since Moses got his, I believe that was the first depiction of the word of God where he was given to transcribe on those stones, but that in itself was a feeling. It's describing the feeling, it's describing the intuition, the instinct, the coincidence. Like, it's just full of all these different examples of feelings people had. So that's how I look at the Bible. I don't know how most people look at the Bible, but I look at it in the same way that I'm looking to live my life, and that's that I'm looking to explain everything.
Yeah.
I'm looking to find out why this works like this. How is it that me and you happen to sit down on this couch today?
Yeah.
What is it that led me to meeting that person the other day? Because this connection that I had with this person was so real.
Yeah.
Why was I able to plan ahead just in case? You know, I had no knowledge that something like this was going to happen.
Yeah.
How is it that I built my life in a way that led me to having this exact moment happen?
Yeah.
And I think that God is the reason for all that. So then you use that word, which is God, to help and you describe that word with, yes, this is a presence. This is a existential being that is living and operating outside of us, that is able to connect us all together in a way that we can't possibly comprehend. And like, there's an ancient Chinese mythology of, it's called string theory, and there's been string theory since then with Stephen Hawking, but it's completely different. And string theory was that each person walks around this world leaving a string behind them, and every thought and every action and every reaction that this person has, it will help pull that string somewhere else. And two strings might cross paths, and every time you pick up a drink bottle or lose $50, that's got a string connected to it as well. But there is someone upstairs pulling on these strings that are guiding people in a way that it might be my worst day because I lost $50 and I needed that $50 to get home. But someone else needed that $50 in order to be able to provide for someone else.
It's crazy.
And the power behind that happening, we have a word called coincidence, but I believe that that word coincidence is the exact same word that people have just lost a bigger description of, and that is God, in my opinion.
I think, you know, we were talking about the devil, the enemy, evil, whatever. That's just another way, like, he manipulates of, you know, just creating different language for things, and like, oh, that's not God. Just taking any type of glory away from him, from God, to like stuff making sense for our minds. You know what I mean? Oh, it's just coincidence. Stuff just happens. Oh, it's just life. Like, life, you hear this thing of like, oh, like, life will teach you. Who the fuck is life, bro? Who's doing that? I'm pretty sure no one cares enough to orchestrate teaching you, let alone like all these people. So like, if we're thinking big brain, it just doesn't make sense on like how like all this coincidence could happen and like there not be like some meeting, let alone someone orchestrating these things. So,
and I think that like another thing I get too is I've had people on the podcast before whenever I mention God, because it usually comes up at one of the last segments I do called Final Questions or Random Questions. And that's because if people don't have the belief in God, they take it as if like, as I don't believe there's a man in the sky watching over us, an invisible man. And that's only because we are such limited as humans to be able to describe what God is. So we say someone, something, father. We use these words that we do understand to help explain something we don't understand. But then people take those words we do understand and they apply them to other words they do understand instead of referencing them to things they don't understand. And to be honest, you mentioned a good point when you said the devil is manipulating, because the devil is another one of these things. And I believe that Satan, the devil, evil, all these things it's another word to describe the things we don't understand. It's another way of describing. It's like people would say evil is a way of putting others first. I mean, putting yourself first above others and being greedy and being needy and not being steered in the right direction and falling off course and not prioritizing things that need to be prioritized. This is all lumped up into this category of devil or bad or evil. And that's why the yin yang is such a fucking perfect symbol, bro, because there's good in bad. There's good in everything bad, and there's bad in everything good. And they're only, again, words that we use to help describe feelings.
Yeah.
So it's so interesting to just be inside of an environment where other people believe in God too, because I like seeing why people believe the things they believe and where their beliefs come from.
Yeah.
And it really does amaze me that people don't. And another thing too, and I am rambling on here, and I will get back onto it.
No. Bro, you don't have to apologize. Like, I love it. Like, these are the conversations for a long time, like, I've wanted to have. But, like, on my own journey of, like, I was not ready for them. So, yeah, God didn't, like, open those doors for them. But also, like, it was my responsibility of, like, dealing with this, dealing with that. But still, that's why it's so amazing. He still knew I wasn't going to choose the right thing, and he's like, I'm going to orchestrate a plan around it and like give you everything that you want, versus also, you know, everything for his glory. So don't apologize, please. Don't apologize.
All right, sweet. Because it does feel good to be able to get some things like this out in an environment where other people have a similar belief. You know what I mean? And
as long as it's good for the pod and it's good for you.
Well, forget it. If it's good for the pod or not, I'm enjoying it. So
Sweet.
So it amazes me that people don't believe in a form of higher power, which God is a word used to describe, but people do believe in things like Mother Nature. Everyone believes in Mother Nature. You know,
sorry for laughing at anyone out there. I just wasn't expecting
like
that.
It doesn't make sense to me that that isn't A plus B equals C.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense that it isn't 1 + 1 = 2.
Yeah.
Because
that's a good point.
Lions and gazelle that live in total intellectual capability of each other, they will live in a continent far away from us, so we shouldn't even know about it. That's a completely different story. But the fact that lions are able to stop eating as much gazelle based on the fact that there isn't that much gazelle left to eat. And one lion could be living in captivity away from his family, you know what I mean, without even knowing how many gazelle are in total population.
Yeah.
This one lion is able to stop eating as much. And as the population starts to grow, lions who have no idea that they're growing start eating more. And it's to keep that even playing field. And all of nature does that within itself. You know, some trees are able to stop taking in so much nutrients at times when other plants are dying in off seasons. So these are literal things that happen, and we measure them through science. And we've described that through Mother Nature. And that word has been taken away from the original word we had, which was God, which was a belief in something. You can't believe in Mother Nature because you already have it. I think that everyone is steering away from this belief, you know what I mean? Everything is starting to become explained, and by explaining things that you can only see, you lose the ability to see things that you can't see. And seeing things you can't see are so much, maybe not so much more important, but just as important to seeing things that you can see. Because you can't see how your future's going to be. You can't see why people are the way they are. You can't see why things happen to you. But by practicing the idea of a belief in something that you can't see, all these other things start to make more sense. You know what I mean? And I think that is important for everyone to at least give the idea of a higher power a go. Because I'd be amazed if people didn't practice the art of it and didn't seek the fruits of their rewards. I'd be super, super surprised if people didn't practice the idea and benefit from doing so.
That's so interesting.
Did you ever have to give it a go, or was it always instilled in you that this was like how it was?
I think I had to, like, I never lost track of, like, I never got, and I think that's it. It is a pride thing. That's why it's one of the deadly sins and stuff like that. Those ones that really have effect on you, because it can affect so many things. But I never got to a point of pride, maybe very close, but of where, like, there is no God. Maybe, like, here and there. I think I might have snapped out of it, but like I can't even remember it. So
Well,
but-
I have those moments myself. Like you don't think there is no God, but I think it's okay to question sometimes whether
Yeah.
there is or not.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we have the capability of questioning it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's not you're not a bad believer
Hmm.
for just acting based on the way your brain acts.
Yeah. I think maybe it comes to a point to where you don't question it anymore, because I couldn't see how, and that's the thing, I don't know what the enemy has up its sleeves. I don't know how I'm going to mess up in the future. I do just pray a lot that I never fall off that like I did, but about questioning, I think I was at a certain point of questioning. Like that's when I was like heavy into the drugs and stuff, and just like living for myself, but I never got to a point of pride of like, oh, like he's not up there really, and like basically being like F you type thing. Like I've definitely said like, oh, I don't care what you want to do. I don't, and that's such the weird thing is that I'm
Yeah.
still talking to him at the end of the day.
Yeah,
It's like-
yeah.
And I feel like a lot of times and just recently there's been so many moments of him just like can almost like feel him like laughing at me, or just laughing at situations, because it's like it all revolves around like, oh, they think they get it, but like they don't know like what's kind of like up my sleeve, type thing. So
It's cool, bro. I can see such a strong belief in you, and I see a powerful.
it's weird that you say that though, because this is relatively somewhat new. Like I am still terrified to speak about it. Even me creating content, a snippet, 3-second, it's like, oh, like there is that voice in the back of my head of like, you're a fake Christian, you still got shit to deal with, like all that stuff, like past stuff that try to creep up. But it's at this point, it is pretty easy of just like posting and like talking about it. But like, it is relatively new too, and it is just that like submission of. Someone told me, oh, like everything you're going through right now, I just feel like God's saying like, just sit with him. And I was like, what the hell does that mean?
Yeah.
Like I pray, and like I've prayed more since, this time. What does that mean? So like, just spend time with him. So like, I was like, okay, what I've heard before, I've heard people talk about like the prayer room. I've heard people like actually just like actually cutting out time in the day. What does that do? I've done that before, and I can't even remember what God did through that. And I know he did stuff now, but I don't know what God did with that. Like it's all been out of convenience up to this point. More prayers here and there, more reading the Bible here and there, but what does that mean? And like it was just that submission of like quality time, and like it's crazy how quick like things started moving once I just did that action. It has sometimes been 30 minutes, but other times it's been 15, 5, whatever. But I mean, like even in that time of doing it, I remember just starting out again, I was just like, well, God, I'm kind of here. It's been a minute, but like just that real stuff of like, I don't know what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people, talk about speaking in tongues and stuff like that, or just having a plan around it. But like my whole thing is just, bro, just freaking sit there and see what kind of like happens. And what's come out of that is just, I think, ideas with fitness, or just people that have just come, situations like this of like, I was in church when you messaged me, and I was like, but what went through my mind wasn't like, oh fuck, I'm so excited. Like, of course I'm so excited to do this, but like it was like, God, do you want me to do this right now? Like right now, is this the time? Because all the background stuff coming in, like I don't have a voice, I can't speak on this. Like I know, God, you want to use me, but in the most unegotistical way, but is this the time that you want? And I was like, well, if you don't say anything, if you don't show me why not, like he doesn't text me and be like, oh, never mind, we can do it next week or something, like something practical that I can see, something that
a clear message,
yeah, that you know I can understand of like, oh, like I get sick, you know, like all of a sudden.
Or you might even have someone else that reaches out and say, hey, I need you for
yeah,
this.
Yeah. Something like that's more needed. Like,
and that is a message from God. Like that is truly what I believe faith is.
Yeah.
It's the understanding that everything in this world is happening not just around you, but to you. You know, you live your life with the ability to help others, but their life isn't just happening around them, their life is happening to them. And your life and my life, they're happening to us. And God is presenting this entire playground with all of his children playing at the same time for each other, you know what I mean? And for the individual person. And it's fucking crazy, bro. Like, just your description on this podcast is exactly what I feel. It's like you were at church and you had a message from God saying, hey, do you want to come do it's not my podcast anymore. This is God saying, you want to come do my podcast. And then like, that's how I feel everything is. I believe it in everywhere I look.
And that's the thing. Like I didn't think it was going to go down this route at all. And I'm of course happy it did. And, but you know, even if it would have went a different route, just like not faith-based, I know God was going to do something with that as well. And it's like, whatever you have to do. And it takes so much pressure off. It's like, oh, like I don't have to think about like, oh, what do I have to press? What do I do stuff like, of course I think, and I'm like, let me bring homie in and stuff like that. Cause that's just me in general. But that's the thing. It is real authentic. And a point you said about, just this life, one of the things I posted of just like, loving God, obviously you have to have a relationship to love someone that grows as well. It's not just this point. And then just serving others. And I've just learned so much in the last like year of like what that actually looks like, of just dropping the ego and just like, what can I get out of it? And you still like kind of think about those things. You don't want to be abused. You don't want, in times you might have to be abused, but you know, there is a line at least. Goes into my point of kind of what's my plans, but we can kind of get into that. I do want to
get into that, and I am enjoying this faith-based section a lot. I'm enjoying hearing what you have to say and getting out some of the things that I have to say too. But I do want to get back to more about what you believe the future has ahead of you and stuff you've done in the past too. But I do remember one thing that I was kind of whatever the word is, but I had an idea of before, and that's that through the practice of prayer and through the practice of belief, I feel like as a man, you can learn a lot about your own responsibility too. And by giving up certain parts of your own need and satisfaction and greed, is that by putting someone or something else first, like a serious commitment to faith, is that you're getting ready for your role as a man. And I think that every man, not every, because there's always exceptions to rules. Some people may not be able to have kids or whatever it is, but there's always the idea of adoption. But I believe that it's our responsibility while we're here to reproduce and procreate and bring more life forward and raise children, you know? And I think that you're already getting ready because you've been practicing this, because now when you're ready to be a father as a man, whether it's by fulfilling the role of someone who stepped out, or whether it's by adopting, or whether it's by literally creating your own offspring inside your partner in itself, is that you now are ready to start putting someone else first. You're now ready to let go of your own needs and your own desires and your own like greed and, you know, your own little bits of satisfaction here and there, or because there is something else more important than yourself.
It's crazy because that's I think I'm leading to the best part of life, at least like what I see, of just connecting with others and like serving others and going into you're saying like practice of it. I think I believed and I don't want to give the devil too much credit, but like it is true of like looking back and being like, I believed a manipulated truth on thinking that, you know, like this money, this situation, all this planning that I was doing was going to create that security for, you know, like my family. And like people will be like, bro, what's wrong with that? And it's like I'm forcing that at the end of the day. That means like, and it's not making me happy. One, it's not making me happy, and then two, it's not really serving others, because like me and, you know, April ran into issues of like family stuff, but I'm thinking of hold on. I'll show you just for reference. I'm thinking of fuck, this didn't go like I was.
Nah, trust.
Like this is me.
Yeah.
But like I know, I hope that I'm gonna have a son one day, and I want to do like so much better than my dad did. And I know that there's something wrong with just saying that, but
I get what you mean, though.
yeah. But just learn from, you know, his mistakes and stuff like that, and just be like more supportive and serving him in a better way. And I think about that every single day. That's why it's my profile picture. I think about April and like, how am I leading her the best, blah, blah, blah. In the last year, like I was forcing all those things, and like I was trying to do that in my own way. That being said, like I said, God used that to propel me into this right now, which is amazing, because I go into the point of, oh, like who do you learn from then? If your parents suck, if this dude sucks, like your inspiration, he just got dropped for something. He's in fucking jail now. Like, who do you learn from? Because like all these people are imperfect. And even a combination of people, you're not going to be able to fulfill that. So,
well, I think that the answer to that question can be answered with the people that you're talking about in themselves, because the gift that, say, you did mention that, you know, you want to do better than your own dad did to you towards your son. And I think that most people should have that mindset, no matter how good or bad their childhood was. And it was a gift. It really was. And I look at it like this way. It was a gift to you to have gone through that. And it was a gift for me to have gone through anything that has happened to me, just like it was my father before him. Because I now know how I want to lead by example, and I want to do what they did right, and I want to do better than the things they did wrong. And I wouldn't know that unless I'd been through it myself. So that is who you learn off. I learn off my friends who have been silly and irresponsible and ended themselves in jail, and I learn from my friends who have been fired from jobs and written themselves off and hospitalized and fallen out with their families. And yeah, I'm always going to be here to support these people, and this is going to sound bad when I say it, but I do see the light in situations like that, because
that's
every reason I don't want people to go through things. Yeah. By the fact that people go through things, it teaches me not to do those things. Yeah. You know, so
it shocks me that people like would take that whatever, like listen to the whole thing, let alone a short snippet of it, and be like, oh, you see, try to twist it and be like, oh, like you're saying that's good that you went through that or somebody else went through that. Like, no, but and we wouldn't want that. That's why we're prioritizing that our kids don't have to go through that. I think another point of that is that there's going to be things we're going to try not to and fail, and our kids are going to hate us for it for a little bit. And that's why, you know, it is so important to go to the ultimate father that is the father of all these kids on this planet, and made them. I guess same with our parents, but
I think that people because we've been talking about faith so much, I think it's important to also talk about what the side effects of faith could be as well, because I think that what steers away a lot of people from the idea is that some people are extremists inside versions, and they've stopped this idea of practice in open-mindedness. And I think that is the first ingredient to belief, being open-minded.
Yeah.
Being open to the idea of something that you can't physically comprehend. And then some people take some things that are written, especially in a book like the Bible, which was written so strategic. It's such an intricate description that you could take one sentence and you could depict it for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
You'd never even be able to comprehend the real meaning behind it.
Yeah.
And the one sentence that could stand out above all else that I could read, the one proverb, the one verse, the one anything, I could read it in one way to make sense to me, and you could read it in one way to make sense to you. And it was designed that way.
Yeah.
It was designed to be able to be used that for a how-to book to live your life for each individual person, and no one else would be able to read the book the same as someone else.
Okay. I love playing devil's advocate. So instantly what comes to mind is someone saying like, oh, but you're believing in a book that wasn't written by God. So it was written by people that are just terrible as you and I. That goes to a point of like, we were talking earlier about putting people on like pedestals, like the people that we inspire to be. And same thing goes for like Noah's. I think mine are Jonah and Job. Their stories like just resonate a lot. Putting them on a pedestal and like they were just as terrible as us.
Yeah. But they were also children of God, you know what I mean? They were no different than me and you.
Yep.
Other than a dedication to a belief at a higher power than we have.
Yep.
And I know what you mean when you say devil's advocate, and I love devil's advocate. It's a great thing to be able to bring towards a podcast, and it was written by men. And I could go deeper and tenfold, and I can play both sides as to why I think that some people have used books like the Bible, and other religions might suffer from these same consequences as well. But man has had its play inside of religion itself as well, you know what I mean? People might be able to use it to be able to lead people in the way that is best suited for them, and trick and manipulate, and wars have been led through the power of religion, and homes and cities and even countries themselves have been totally wiped out, and amazing parts of our history will never be known again because of people have manipulated man-made books. But the book in itself was written by men who had gotten the message from God. You know what I mean? I believe that the Bible in itself, yes, it was written by man, but God spoke through men to write that book.
Yeah.
So that's how I can say that it, you know what I mean? If that answers the question.
No, I mean, it's one of the, obviously, I think that's the main thing people do, or like people ask. And like, that's how I would answer it too. The other thing I think is like, it just is false in general of like, like it's been proven and like passed down, and it's what changed so much, the version. I remember, I don't get into like Instagram kind of debates or anything like that, comment back and forth type shit, but we talk about manipulation. I'm heavily into music as well, so these guys were like reacting to a video by Beyonce and Jay-Z that just came out, and it was about Jesus, and they were putting, I can't remember exactly what he was doing and stuff. It's just like not something Jesus would do, and it's kind of like blasphemy and all that, and people are like, bro, it's just a movie. And it's like, that shit fired me up quick. So I was like, bro, like, it's like, so I tried to explain it to him. I was like, like, if we all believe in God, we're on the same team here, right? Like, that's your creator, that's your father, whatever. If it's just a movie, I don't want, like, my father creator being mocked. And we have our differences in Jesus and stuff like that, but at the same time, I don't think you would agree with how Jesus was being depicted.
Yeah. Well, I would never try and steer you away from your belief.
Yeah.
I believe that your belief is just as important as my belief. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, 100%. Anyway, this guy was saying, it's just a movie, and I was trying to say, like, bro, so let's take the same principle and let's do it for, your situation. Let's try to you know, put you in the mix of things. Oh, like, and I was like, oh, so if your daughter, you know, because he looked like an older man, like how does I'm gonna talk shit. Anyway, but your daughter, and he was like, if it was for the bag, I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Are you there's no amount of money, and that's easy to say now.
Yeah.
But I also believe that God is not going to put you through a test that you cannot handle.
Yeah, he definitely would test his strongest soldiers.
Yeah, yeah, like you said earlier. So I instantly think of the question with the boys of like, oh, for $1 million, are you sucking dick or what?
Yeah, I know.
Bro, if he tested me,
Yeah, bro, it's $1 million, bro. It's $1 million, bro.
shit.
Shawty catch a vibe, yeah, I had to put her on. Bought a two-seater, yeah, we heading for the sun. Shawty got my high, I ain't tripping for the funds. Yeah, I won't start, I ain't tripping,